All right. Fantastic Four, the first steps dropped. How do I feel? Let's go, baby. We're so back, Marvel. Yeah! I'll just say this right now. This movie's perfect. There are very few things in this movie that I'm nitpicky about, but other than that, this movie is done stupid well. The cast, the cinematography, the serious moments, the funny moments, the music. Oh my gosh. Usually I don't talk about the music because I kind of suck at it, but man, the soundtrack is just, it's so good. I was humming it when I was driving back. It was that good. I'll also be real with y'all. I'm not well versed with the Fantastic Four. I know very little. I haven't read the comics. I haven't watched the other movies. I do plan on reviewing them soon, but honestly, I'm really scared too because I've heard they're freaking atrocious. But I'll get to them eventually. But with what I do know about the Fantastic Four, again, they did it incredibly well. So yeah, that's really it. I just want to get started with the review right now, but I will be getting into spoilers, so if you're not a big fan of spoilers, click off the video now, but come back because this video is worth a watch. I really just want to get into the cast first because, man, this is the cornerstone of the movie. These 6 people made the movie what it is. If these 6 people didn't do what they did, I don't think this movie would be perfect. So first, I'm just going to talk about the Fantastic Four. We got Sue, we got Reed, we got Johnny, and we got the big boy Ben. Oh my gosh, they were all done super well. My favorite being Johnny, but I want to get to him last because I do want to talk about the other 3 first. Sue really stood out with how naturally she stepped into that mother role, especially when Galactus showed up and was like, yo, I won't kill your planet, just give me the god, baby. And obviously, she wasn't having that. So she fully locked into that protective mother mode, and it made sense for her character. Now we're on to Reed, being the genius in the group. I didn't know what to expect with him. When I mean that, I mean, I don't know how he was supposed to act, how Reed's supposed to, be as a character. Again, I'm just not super familiar with the comics, but this Reed made me think he's a constant thinker, a problem solver, a guy who's running numbers in his head, someone who's overthinking every single possibility, situation, and somehow he's still able to balance that with being a partner, a father, and a friend. Then we have Ben, and honestly, I wish we got more out of him. We got hints of depth with the little love story and his time cooking with the robot, but it left me wanting to know more. I know in the comics, he clearly has this thing going on where people still fear him after everything he's done to help, and there's something tragic in that, and it's very tragic. It's just that the film didn't explore him as much as it could have, but hopefully that's something we get to see more later, and hopefully they don't just kind of push it to the sideline. Then you got Galactus and Silver Surfer. I don't know much about them, but wow, Galactus is terrifying. There's this power imbalance that makes him feel like a god, and it's not in like that corny way, but like generally unstoppable. You can't just punch this dude and he'll fly away. It's like an ant trying to stop a car. Something's gonna get hurt, and it's not gonna be the car. And Silver Surfer completely blew me away. The dynamic between her and Johnny was one of the best parts of the film. It wasn't even romantic, just this intense connection that builds through shared stakes. And then there's Johnny, easily the highlight. Not just the best actor, but the heart of the team. He was a perfect mix of cocky, not really that charismatic, and secretly brilliant. Yeah, he called the alien sexy, which is the only time he kind of did something like flirtatious. I kind of wanted to see more since I know he's a flirt or whatever. Yeah, he cracked jokes, but he decoded an alien language from a whole other galaxy or planet. And that moment where he's willing to sacrifice himself for Sue and Reed's baby, that hit hard. The connection between him and Silver Surfer gave us some of the best emotional payoff in this entire movie. They didn't just have chemistry, they had purpose. Man, I love Johnny. Speaking of all these scenes, the cinematography and action in this movie were next level. It wasn't overloaded with action. This movie actually leaned more into dialogue and characters. I actually prefer that. I'll get to that in later. But when the action hit, it hit hard. The biggest standout for me was the space chase with Silver Surfer, them flying through debris, them going through a black hole, not through it, but kind of across the black hole. It looked insane and beautiful. Legit, some of the best visuals I've seen in a Marvel movie in years. Same with the final fight with the Galactus. They didn't just throw in explosions and call it a day. It was dynamic. It made you feel how outmatched they were. And unlike other Marvel movies, where it's like action, joke, action, more action, this movie spaced things out. Dialogue, tension, then action. And the cinematography overall, clean and sharp. A couple of CGI moments with Galactus where it looked a little sketchy, and the baby crawling up the hand. The green scene looked rough, but those were rare to almost none. Overall, this movie was gorgeous. Another thing that stood out was how different this felt from your typical Marvel movie. Yes, it's in the MCU, but it doesn't play by the usual rules. It's more serious. The jokes aren't consistent. When they come, they're actually funny. Thor, Love and Thunder. But they don't undercut emotional scenes. The way it was shot felt totally unique. I heard someone on the Escape podcast say something, and I'm going to steal their opinion. I think it was that guy. But they said that superhero movies often look great. I can kind of agree with that statement, with stuff like Infinity War and Civil War. Definitely have that washed out tone. But this was poppy. It had this retro futuristic style that made it feel alive, and the characters, the world, everything felt intentional. This version of the Fantastic Four, they felt like a real family. Unlike the Avengers, they didn't feel like coworkers. They didn't feel like a team forced to work together. A family. That was something the Avengers never really had, at least not in the same way. This movie just did something different, and it worked. It made me feel something. I'm not gonna even lie, I teared up when Sue died. This movie hit all the emotional beats. It made me happy, it made me laugh, it made me tense, it made me scared. Galactus is one of the scariest villains I've seen in a fat minute. Not because of what he says or does, but just because how big and untouchable he feels. That fear stuck with me. And again, this whole thing was done super well, practically perfect. The only real complaint I can make is wanting more time with Ben. But that's kind of like a good/bad problem to have. That just means I cared. I wanted more. So yeah, my score, Fantastic Four: The First Steps, gets a 10 out of 10. I don't give those out lightly. I already gave one to Sinners earlier this year, so I really didn't expect to be doing another one so soon. I thought this was going to be like a solid 8 or 9, maybe. I even thought this might be worse than Superman, but thankfully I was dead wrong. This movie blew me away. From the cast, the cinematography, the action, the tone, it all worked. It was fresh, it was bold, and I don't think we're gonna get something like this again anytime soon. And yeah, that's really it. I want to hear your thoughts. Did you like this movie? Did you not like this movie? Did you think it was better than Superman? Did you think it was worse than Superman? Let me know in the comments down below. But with that said, thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. And with all that being said, noches.